What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Chalk Talk. This week we're breaking down the Freddy Peralta trade, why I'm not fully sold on the Mets rotation yet, and the one young pitcher that could change everything for them. Plus, the Nationals look like they're ready to move on from CJ Abrams. So we're going to talk about what that tells us about who they're really building around following the recent front office moves. Let's talk about it. The Mets finally get their guy, bringing in Freddy Peralta to help stabilize this rotation. And on paper, I get it. But I think the biggest thing that's actually going to help this team isn't even the rotation. It's how deep and balanced this lineup has become. You lost Pete Alonso, but you brought in Marcus Semien, who they're clearly betting on to have a bounce-back year from. You've got a young phenom who's shown he could be a perennial 30-30 guy in Luis Robert. And then you add one of the biggest free agents this offseason in Bo Bichette. This lineup can score, and more importantly, it can score consistently. When you have a lineup like that, it takes pressure off your pitchers. They don't have to be perfect every night. They have to keep you in the game. Now, when it comes to the pitching side, I still have a lot of questions. But I actually like what they've really done in that bullpen. Bringing in guys like Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, AJ Minter, Brooks Raley, Luis Garcia, that's a high-tier bullpen. Devin Williams is elite. Luke Weaver has shown flashes where he can be a legit late-inning guy. AJ Minter has had big playoff moments with the Braves. And Luis Garcia has to be one of the most sneaky pickup moves this offseason. The group can shorten games, but once again, it comes back to the rotation. Freddy Peralta is good. No one's arguing that. But there's a difference between being good and being the guy in October. And trust me, as a Dodger fan, I lived that reality firsthand watching Clayton Kershaw dominate regular season after regular season, but that does not always translate when the lights are the brightest. Peralta's playoff resume doesn't exactly inspire confidence either. You have to go all the way back to 2021 to find the last time he went 3+ innings in this postseason without giving up a run, when he threw 4 shutout innings against the Braves. Since then, every postseason start, he's given up at least 3. That doesn't mean he can't pitch in October, but it does mean the Mets still need answers, because your bullpen can only do so much if your starters can't even get you through 5. And that brings me to the X factor for this Mets team this season, the young pitching, more specifically Nolan McLean. Because if Nolan McLean is the guy he showed us he could be in 2025, prior to his final start of the season, he instantly becomes the biggest swing piece on this roster. We're talking about a guy who's consistently giving you 5+ innings, not giving up more than 2 runs per start, and flashing real dominant level stuff. That last outing though, the one where he gave up 3 homers and 5 runs in total, I'm willing to chalk that up to fatigue. He threw 162 innings last year between the minors and the majors, by far the most he's ever thrown in a single season, and that matters. When I look at this rotation as a whole though, I genuinely think McLean is the guy with the highest ceiling. Out of everyone in that group, he's the one who could really take that leap. Honestly, and I know this might sound bold, I think sooner rather than later, he takes over Freddy Peralta as the ace of the staff. And if that happens, the entire outlook of this Mets team changes. Now let's go over to the trade rumor side of things, because it's starting to sound like the Nationals are open to moving CJ Abrams, and I don't think this is too random. With a new front office in place and a new coaching staff there, it's pretty clear they're willing to move on from players tied to the previous regime. You've already seen it with Mackenzie Gore, who I actually love watching pitch and still think is a future ace. What this really tells me though is that Washington is fully committed to building this org around James Wood. So far, though, teams like Red Sox, Giants, Yankees, Padres, and Mariners have all been linked to Abrams. And honestly, he makes sense for every single one of them. He brings speed, athleticism, and impact potential. Even if the numbers don't jump off the page right now, and depending on where he lands, some of these teams might even look to move into second base. And if that happens, I think these defensive concerns become way less of an issue. Shortstop has always been where the struggles show up. And at second, the pressure eases and the value goes up. The Nationals reportedly got 4 prospects for Mackenzie Gore, and they're said to want an even more enticing package for CJ. And when you really break it down, a guy can realistically give you 20 homers and 30+ stolen bases every year doesn't grow on trees. If Washington does move him though, it won't be because they don't like him. It'll be because they're fully committed to a long-term vision built around James Wood. So that'll be Chalk Talk for this week. And if you're the Mets, your season might come down to whether your young arms to step in like Jonah Tong or Nolan McLean. And if you're the Nationals, it's clear the future has a direction, and not everyone fits into it. But we'll be back soon with more.